Good morning. So today we are processing apples. Last night we went and picked a whole bunch of apples from someone just on Facebook Marketplace. I so wish that I had my own apple tree, but this works so well. We got tons of apples and I've already been peeling, chopping, doing all the things. I have a whole bunch of applesauce going. I have a batch of apple cider going, and I'm going to show you guys what we're doing and take you along with the whole process. If you are brand new here, my name is Tori and we live on a little urban homestead where we try to be as self-sufficient as possible, grow our own food, and just live a simple lifestyle. So I'm so glad you're here, and I'd love if you hit that subscribe button and stuck around. So here's the current kitchen situation. If anyone actually cans or processes food without everything becoming a huge mess, I want your tips, because honestly this is pretty tidy, all things considering. I always like to start with a clean kitchen so that it doesn't get super out of hand. Here I have my cans that are mostly sterilized. I'm just working on sterilizing the bigger ones for apple cider. And then in the crock pot I have a batch of applesauce. This is actually my second batch. I started a first batch right before I went to bed last night. I just put it on low and it was perfect and ready this morning, and I already have it in cans. So this is a second batch going right now. So I'm actually trying one batch peeled and one batch unpeeled just to see if I like the difference. I already am pretty sure that I'm not gonna love the peels, because I tried the unpeeled stuff and whenever I found a little peel I didn't love it, but I might just have to blend this one more. So basically I just put it on low until they're all soft. They were in there about 12 hours last night, I think, maybe like 10 hours on low just cooking, and it was overnight, so I literally didn't stir it or anything, but they were perfect. And then I just add a little bit of cinnamon. I don't sweeten them, and then I just use my blender and I just put it all, I let it cool down a little bit and I put it all in here and just blend it until it's pretty smooth. I don't like my applesauce really chunky, so I like to do it that way. And then I am doing a big batch of apple cider on the stove, and I just sliced and cored the apples and filled it up with water. I might end up sweetening this, we'll see. I'll try it like once it's been cooking for a while, but I'm just gonna let this simmer for a couple hours and just let it get really strong. And there's also cinnamon in this one. And the baby's over here eating breakfast. The nice thing about apples is that it's a lot of just like, it's obviously a lot of work to like peel and dice and core the apples, but then you can just kind of like let it all simmer and I don't have to like babysit it all day long. But this is what I got so far. So a whole crock pot full of applesauce filled just 4 of these. So it takes a lot of apples. Are you eating applesauce? Are you eating applesauce? Yeah. So this is my current stash of apples. I had probably like another bag of this that I've already gone through, but we still have tons to work with. So today I'm gonna try to get some peeling done and just get more of these prepped and ready to go for whenever I'm ready for them. Okay, so I've moved outside because it's super hot in my kitchen and it's beautiful out here. So I'm just gonna be peeling and like coring and cubing these apples. I did 2 different batches of applesauce. They're the same apples. You can see that they're different colors. So this one I peeled all of them, and then this one I left the peels on. Everything else I did the same apples. So and then I cooked all the apples and then I blend them in my blender just for like a couple seconds. This batch that I peeled, I blended like literally for 3 or 4 seconds. Like just, it blended really quickly. The one with the peel, I blended slightly longer, so it's more of like a pureed texture. This is definitely my preference. I like my applesauce like smooth, with like just a tiny little bit of chunks. Like I don't want it like a puree. And I can still notice the peels in here. So a lot of people say that you can't notice the peels. I still notice the peels just a little bit, so I'm definitely going to keep peeling my apples for my applesauce. But just FYI, if you're trying to decide whether or not to peel them, that's my preference. I think everyone has different preferences, but... Okay, I'm trying to deal with the mess and trying to clean up kind of as I go. But I have another batch of applesauce in here. So, like I mentioned, I just cut them up. I'm going to be peeling them because that's what I like. And I just throw them all in the crock pot. I literally fill this as high as it goes. I don't even know if I'm supposed to do that, but fill it as high as I go. I kind of sprinkle some cinnamon on it. I don't measure that. And then I'm actually cooking this one on high, but I'm stirring it pretty frequently. I would not do high if you're like going out or if you're gonna be sleeping or anything. I definitely think if you're cooking it on high in the crock pot, you really need to be watching it. But low worked perfect. It just took way longer, and I want to get through these and I don't want it to take me like an entire week. Okay, today is apple day 2. I stayed up way too late last night, like 1:30, because I was finally able to like get stuff done without the baby like needing me and being under my feet. So I'm super tired today, but I'm gonna get started right away just so that I can have another batch of applesauce and apple cider brewing because they take a few hours. So gonna get those going. I also chopped up a bunch of apples, and I think I decided that I'm going to try freezing them. I've heard that they work well to freeze for like apple crisps and stuff, so gonna try that. I could do apple pie filling, but all of the recipes seem to have a lot of sugar, and I'm just not super interested in that, so gonna just try freezing some. So let's get started again. So this is the consistency that I like. It's pretty smooth, but it's not like completely pureed. There's still like some texture to it. So I blended this for 15 seconds. The other ones I didn't blend as long because I had kind of mashed them already. This one I hadn't. So this is what it did look like. It looks kind of gross in here, but you can see that these are totally soft, and yeah. Sanitized jars, so I have a whole bunch of jars in here that I'm sanitizing. I'm probably going to have to go to the basement. I think that I still have more of this size, but I'm gonna need to buy more this year anyway. Apples. And I have this disgusting looking bowl of apple mush that I'm gonna give to the chickens. Yesterday I gave them apple peels and they loved that, so I'm gonna see if they'll eat this also. Okay, so I have 2 Ziplocs with just like cut and peeled apples. They're kind of browning, but I don't really care. I could soak them in like lemon juice or something, but it doesn't really bother me because they'll be baked. So these are all cut for apple crisp, and I'm gonna put these in the freezer. I think I'm gonna do 1 or 2 more of these, but I basically just measured out the amount of apples that would fit in the pan that I would use, and this will be so nice in the middle of winter to just pull out and make like a topping for it and make an apple crisp. The last thing I want to do with my apples is make apple scrap vinegar. So apple cider vinegar is a little bit of a different process. It's more of a fermentation, but you can use your apple scraps. So this is just apple peels and apple cores that otherwise would be garbage. They would go to the chickens or the compost, but I'm going to use these to make a vinegar. So basically you just add water until all the apples are covered, and you want to use filtered water, so I'm using water from my water filter. You don't want it to have chlorine or anything that's going to hinder the fermentation process. So I'm starting it with 8 cups of water, and then you do 1 tablespoon of organic cane sugar per cup of water. So I'm just heating that up on the stove, and then I'll add the mixture and see if we need some more. And then you can also add a tablespoon of store-bought apple cider vinegar to just kind of kickstart the fermentation process. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm just gonna kind of like push them all down. So I'm gonna cover this with a towel. It is fruit fly season, and we don't want to attract a million fruit flies to this, but we want it to breathe. So I'm not gonna put the lid back on it. I'm just going to cover it with a towel, and then every day or every other day or so, you kind of wanna like do exactly what I'm doing right now, just to make sure that all of the apples are under the water, otherwise they will go moldy. If they go moldy, then you can just throw those ones out. But I might put like another half a cup of water or so in here just to get those last few submerged. And that is the whole process. So I'm excited to see how this turns out. You can't use this in like canning recipes that call for apple cider vinegar, because that's more of like a science, but any sort of like salad dressings or things that just call for it just for flavor, it should totally work. Okay, you guys, canning with a baby should be an Olympic sport. I am exhausted. My house looks like a tornado hit it. So I'm processing my last batch of apple cider in the water bath, and I'm trying to tackle this kitchen. So I truly tried so hard to keep the kitchen like tidy and like clean in between everything I was doing, but it just like compounds. And I woke up to a clean kitchen this morning. It looked great this morning, and I've like cleaned it so many times throughout the day, but right now it is a hot mess. So I'm going to tackle the kitchen, and then we're going to be done with this apple project for now. So I might get some more apples later on. Hopefully then I can be a little bit more organized and do it a little bit faster, or maybe have like a friend come help me, because this has been a lot. Okay, I almost forgot to actually show you the finished product. I feel like this doesn't look like a ton, and it was a ton of work, but I have 7 quarts of apple cider. I think we drank like 1 in the last couple days, and then I have 14 pints, and then I think there's 2 upstairs. So 16 pints of applesauce, plus I also have 3 bags in the freezer ready for apple crisp, and I made an apple crisp that we've already eaten. So it was a ton of apples, and this represents a lot of work. So that's it for apple canning and apple processing, at least for now. I have a couple connections for more apples in a few weeks when those are ready. I don't know if I have it in me. That was a lot of work. I feel like it doesn't look like a ton of food, but it was a lot of work. So we'll see if I decide to do more. If I do more, I'll probably do some apple juice just with the juicer. But canning and food preservation with a small baby who is mobile and can tear the house apart is a ton of work. So I'm pretty exhausted, but I hope that you enjoyed that and were inspired to start processing some of your own food. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week.